position where the AD carry pool is quite wide, and it's down to who do we prioritize. Obviously, it seems like they're going back to the Lucian, which was the pick we saw for the first time today in our first game.
And in the first game, Alive and Zersting had a 20 CS lead in the lane. They were ahead of Doggo and Kino. It was the only time that bot lane has not looked like a Grand Canyon between these two teams. Alive and Zersting were able to get ahead. They put Doggo behind, and still that game didn't go as well as perhaps Beyond would have liked it to in the end. There's the Misfortune picked up. We'll see where they go for their next pick with Xin Zhao and with Lee Band. It makes sense to get that Ryze. It's something that we've seen Maoan and Bolulu really heavily prioritize.
Yeah, we have, but so far we've also seen Maoan do better into the Ryze than we've actually seen the other way around, and it seems like having that Syndra to neutralize the pick just works better. Blind picking Leona here can be a bit interesting because it just sets up the Braum for the Lucian Braum here instead. So I understand wanting to have the priority, but I feel like as a jungler, you could have picked one here for HuSha and then left the counter pick or third pick for support here over to the side of the Leona. In the end, they prioritized the bot lane so much with Doggo and Kino, and you can already clearly see it in the draft. Now, Crazy Gwen has been banned against him loads of times when you head into the second ban phase, but do you really want to blind pick it? That's a bold task, but no, he's going for it. 100% win rate on the champion this summer and this Worlds.
So I wonder if you go for something like, I'm debating if Bolulu wants to pick the Ryze here, and then only one of those can be counted, and you can ban out counters to the other in the second phase. So if you pick Ryze and then Maoan picks Syndra, it's like, okay, we'll just ban out Gwen counters.
The problem with that is you won't get that Braum for the support either.
Very
then
true.
Obviously you leave yourself open. But you know what? They don't want the Braum. They don't want the mid lane. They want the Olaf for Mojito in the jungle instead. So that's interesting, but that also just screams to me that this team is going for the early priority. This team wants to have all the early brawling power and potential on their side.
Mojito's played Olaf 4 times across the course of Season 11, has won 2 of them. So it's not a super comfortable pick. In fact, hasn't even played it at all in summer.
Well, there you go.
Bringing something out of the back cabinet, it seems, in the form of that Olaf. There's Graves locked in for Beyond as well. Could, of course, go top. We've seen it in the jungle as well. HuSha can take that. And now we move into the second phase. Rakan banned away from Zersting. Trundle taken away from Maoan. Or even from Liang in the top lane.
That's the thing, this Graves still a flex pick, right? Can be moved into jungle, can be used up in one of these lanes. I'm not too sure about the Graves Gwen matchup, but in the end, it still leaves the flexibility open, and some interesting bans to come out here as well. The Rakan is one of them, Yumi being the other, and that does still leave open the Braum for Zersting here later if he wants to. So getting that Olaf early priority apparently doesn't seem all too bad against him, and now seeing this Silas ban, it could also mean we would see a Twisted Fate.
I mean, that's the big thing. Like, the Maoan, I believe, doesn't play as much Twisted Fate as Bolulu plays. Yeah, so he hasn't played it at all. Whereas, because Bolulu plays the Twisted Fate, you can ban the Silas, take the Twisted Fate for yourself. It means that you couldn't get it countered, but Ryze obviously are locked in here for Beyond. It's actually Gnar.
You were saying?
Well, it's really difficult to tell when it's locked in, man.
Well,
like,
yeah,
some of them are hard.
You can just follow the blue line at the top there to see when it's finally locked in.
There's the Gnar instead.
But yeah, the Twisted Fate, it kind of just screams this pick as soon as you see the Silas. If you're gonna lock in the Ryze here, then you knew you'd just be facing the Syndra once again. But yeah, as you said, now he's gonna go up on towards Gwen here. We will have this Graves in the jungle. Well, perhaps can still be pushed in mid, but that's what we're assuming. And then the rest of the map for Galatasaray should be locked in here, as the Twisted Fate will be the first one here for Bolulu.
And the question is, what do you pick into the top lane into this? Oh no, it's already Gwen. Yeah, Gnar into Gwen is the top lane matchup, so I don't even need to talk about that. Support is the option. Lucian Nami is something we've talked about a lot. It's very strong, the power of Electrocute Nami, Tide Coiler's Blessing with PTA. You can proc a lot of damage. Of course, Lucian gets extra damage if he's empowered auto attacks, or if he's buffed while he auto attacks with that passive. So it's a very strong laning pick, but instead the Trundle here for Zersting.
The Trundle can be interesting as well, because you will have the pillar still against the Misfortune. If she starts the bullet time, it has a fairly long range, and then the obvious choice obviously is that Trundle just does really well into Leona. The fact that you can steal away the resistances on the W, and if Leona does go Aftershock, well, you know what, that's even more resistant to steal. So now with Alive, or not Alive, but Bolulu having locked into Twisted Fate, the counter pick for Maoan instead is going to be this Ryze to match the proactivity on the map, to match the side lane potential.
Once again, Galatasaray bringing out something they haven't played for the entirety of summer. Both the Olaf and the Trundle not picked by their respective players. Maoan with the Ryze in the mid lane, as you say, to match the ability of the Twisted Fate to roam around. And it's one last time, one last game between these two to see who gets through to tomorrow, who has the mammoth task of beating Hanwha Life in a best of 5 to make it to the group stage. Galatasaray looking to do it for Turkey for the first time in their history, for the first time in 4 years for the TCL. Beyond following in the footsteps of PSG Talon, of course, who made it to groups last year.
But also just signature champions all across the board, really. You have Gwen for Crazy, you have Maoan on his Ryze, which was the most played for him in summer, Bolulu on a roaming champion like the Twisted Fate, and then Doggo on the Misfortune once again will be coming through. This is the comfort you're looking for. This is the game 5, where all the other games, they don't matter no more. It's back to best of 1. And last time it was the best of 1 between these two teams, it was Galatasaray that came out ahead.
And Galatasaray heavily focused the top lane. It was PK playing in the top lane for that game as well, not Liang. You can see as we get onto Summoner's Rift, lots of early plans being laid, lots of strategies being discussed. One last chance to make it through to tomorrow.
Just taking a look aboard the summoner spells. Mojito not opted in for the flash on Olaf, but it will be the ghost, which in the early game gives you some extra rundown potential. Crazy once again on the exhaust and the Gwen to take care of the Mecha Gnar damage that can potentially come through later into the game. Crazy on this Gwen was, well, crazy in the mid game, and a lot of these team fights when he was excelling his pressure, and he obviously has that hallowed mist into the Misfortune bullet time, which gives him a bit extra leeway once we finally start seeing that team fight scenario later into the game.
Of course, that's a long way away still. Both wards placed here by Galatasaray, one up in that top third bush, one in the middle bush in the bottom lane. But it's an Oracle's picked up by Zersting on his reset. HuSha also has an Oracle's of his own, but neither team really going too deep. Neither team making forays into enemy territory, very willing just to play a little bit more defensive. And this is kind of what you expect in a game 5 when everything's on the line, when basically your year ends after this game if you lose. Teams tend to be a little bit more apprehensive about how far they want to push it.
But for the first time today, Medic, we're actually having our jungler start up towards the top side instead, and then pathing down towards the bottom side, which obviously means that the skirmishes no longer will be up towards the top side, at least not for the first 3 minutes, but down towards the bot instead.
And I think that makes a lot of sense if you're Mojito, because your bot lane has been struggling. Your bot lane has been on the receiving end of a world of hurt. Doggo continues to need a chiropractor when he's about 40 years old, because he's put this team on his back, and that's a heavy weight to carry throughout this series. But for the moment, he continues to shoulder that burden for Beyond.
Speaking of brawling in the bot lane, you can see Zersting, he's not opted in for the Guardian. In fact, he's opted in for the Hail of Blades instead. That really gives you some of this early fighting potential, specifically when you get the pillar as well. It's one of those easy things where you can auto-attack cancel, or animation cancel rather, with your Q, and then you steal away Doggo's AD. You make it harder for him to win out in these trades, which he's been so far so prevalent at doing.
It does mean Zersting's relatively squishy early on. Subjugate will help him out later. Of course, you can subjugate the Gnar, subjugate the Leona, and steal away a bunch of their stats, but for now, Hail of Blades isn't the tank keystone in the same way that something like a Guardian or an Aftershock would be. Aftershock on Trundle, not the best one, but Guardian definitely can help you out. Both junglers spotted on wards. The Razor Beaks, respectively, have been sighted by their opposition.
And so far right now, priority up in the top lane for Galatasaray, priority in the bottom lane for Galatasaray, and mid lane is actually the only place where Beyond Gaming right now is having any priority. It's going to be interesting to see if they fancy their chances for a Scuttle fight here in the early game. Of course, there is 15 seconds until it respawns. Both junglers has made their way down here. And you can see Kino, he was trigger happy just a moment ago, looking for that center plate as well. Now with HuSha coming in from the jungle.
Mojito is 2 camps ahead. They're going in the bot lane as Kino dives onto Zersting. Ignite is ticking. They're trying to turn it back onto Kino, and Burst Blood goes over to Galatasaray. And now here comes Mojito. Double TP's expanded. Once again, it's a brawl in the bottom lane. Everyone wants to come to the party. Bolulu flashes away immediately. And the root goes down. Mojito falls. Doggo with the kill. It's a double. Maoan takes the second.
Maoan showing up in this early game. I don't really know what the game plan was for Galatasaray with the TPs, because you could clearly see as soon as they came through, Bolulu just wanted to flash out. Mojito got caught by one of the CC as well. And all of a sudden, a play that started out really well for Galatasaray completely turned around, flipped, and Beyond Gaming now in the lead. Look at Doggo's gold, 300 above Alive. And a minion wave crashing in with Kino already out on the map roaming.
Yeah, Kino going up towards the top side, looking to see perhaps if Crazy overextends a tad, but the big thing for that is,
he's spotted.
Once again, it's Doggo who gets out ahead. As you say, Kino was spotted just a little bit on the ward. Crazy snip, Zenith Blade stun. Liang going in, there's the wallop. And down goes Crazy, and it doesn't matter if you spot Kino, he is still there to get you.
And this is the Beyond we saw in the PCS, the Beyond where they have Kino out on the map in the early game after they've been getting Doggo some resources. Everything in this game 5, despite the first engage, is going well for Beyond here, but nicely done trading onto Kino, not flashing that piercing line. Unfortunately makes him get first blood, and this is where the situation starts to become a bit dire. The TP coming in immediately matched by Maoan, who plays this super beautiful. He finds the extra scatter on the E, and then the flash once again with it. And the spell flux of the minions then for the Q to finish it off. Just, you know, beautiful play actually.
It just feels a little greedy as well from Galatasaray. Like, you didn't need to push up like that.
Yeah.
After the TP comes in, Bolulu flashes, Mojito doesn't need to go for another undertow, just run. Get underneath your tower. Would have been a 1-for-1, would have been okay. But right now, Beyond able to use that advantage to get themselves about 600 gold ahead of their opposition. Maoan already 1-0-1 on this Ryze, has the Amptome building up as alongside that tier. So Beyond in a strong spot overall. And once again, it feels a little bit like we're on Doggo watch. How big can he get in the early game? How big can he get towards these later team fights? And will he ever die on this misfortune? Because he's pretty slippery when it gets towards a later portions of a match.
Find out in the next episode. With the way you set that one up, but no, we will find out in this game. But right now, it's not going to be about the bot lane. It's going to be about the top lane with Crazy, the recipient of jungle attention.
Yeah, HuSha backing away from this. Lots of minions there. Didn't really want to try and trade in. Crazy gets the needlework at the 6, so it's just able to back away because HuSha's on the top side of the map. This is an easy enough dragon take for Galatasaray. Don't have to be too worried about being collapsed on. Doggo still only level 5. If he had 6, I think maybe you'd be a little bit more apprehensive about making that play. Yeah,
but it's still very nice getting this in the early game just because of how late these dragons were stacked in the game just before this one. And it's important to remember while this skirmish did go in the favor of Beyond, they haven't really had their point of attack yet for Galatasaray. It is going to be that Destiny Gate when it finally comes through that really going to dictate how this game will be played out, as it's also on Maoan to then finally follow around him and match the pressure that's coming out from Bolulu.
Bolulu constantly shoved underneath his tower, though, makes it a little bit difficult for him to get out and about on the map. There's the pillar going out. Doggo down to half HP, alive, dashing forward. Zenith Blade coming out as well. Flash away with the cleanse. Doggo has the flash from Zersting. HuSha on his way. Flash forward by Kino. Shield of Daybreak gets the stun onto the Trundle. Zersting now on the wrong side. A dodge. Doggo just wants the auto in here to get the kill. And Doggo gets his second of the game.
They thought they could go for it. Mojito was around the bot side, but he had to join in the mid lane for play onto Maoan, where he also got away. And then HuSha down towards the bottom lane. Amazing shadow to come through to actually assist this bottom lane. And Doggo once again picking up a fantastic kill on an aggressing Zersting on the Trundle. Initially for Galatasaray, it looks good. But how the plays are ending, they just favor Beyond.
And again, it's Doggo getting ahead. You can see 600 gold, his lead, 300 gold lead in the mid lane as well for Maoan, who's having a stellar performance on this Ryze so far, escaping that gank and managing to get some early pressure for Beyond. 1,200 gold, the difference between the two teams now. And Galatasaray, once again, a struggling early game. It's kind of been the story of the series. They, apart from, I think, game 1, they really haven't been able to get any leads in the early game versus Beyond.
Now, I wonder what leads they're going to be looking for. Bolulu had just recalled now. He picked up some Mercury Treads in the beginning just to make sure that all that CC on Beyond Gaming won't affect him too much. And now when he's coming back to the lane, rather, I think we're going to be looking at the first Rift Herald. It has just been spawned up, Medic. Supports were up here to try and assist, but with the pressure that Doggo is deploying on the bot lane, then Zersting, he'll have to assist Alive even further. Kino down here as well. Cleanse is not up for Alive either. And with mid lane not showing, well, here they are, it was a dire situation.
Kino starting to push forward for this invade. I will draw your eyes to the fact that Doggo has decided against lethality this time. No early serrated Dirk. Instead, you know, Kraken Slayer, one of those new quiver items, probably on its way. Makes sense, I think, into an Olaf and into a Trundle. The ability to chip away at them rather than trying to burst them down, I think, just a little bit more powerful for the MF. It does mean the bullet time won't do quite as much work as it usually would, or at least as it has done in the last couple of games. HuSha on a ward here, but Doggo just looking for the plate. Third of the game, 9 minutes in for him. Shared with Kino, but Doggo won't mind that too much. Maoan trading onto Bolulu here in the mid lane. Forces the Galatasaray mid laner back once again.
It's the small things right here for Beyond. It's not the fact that they're not able to take away the red buff, but it's the fact that they're able to move around the pressure and move it like pieces down towards the bot side. Get another plate for Doggo, back off, keep alive on the back foot, make sure that he can't see us as proficiently as he would be without this pressure, and then just continue pushing Galatasaray back to make sure that they're not feeling confident themselves to go for a cross map with Bolulu up towards the top side, but keep him under his own tower.
And now you can see, like, Liang very willing just to play the side of the map that doesn't get any attention, right? HuSha has been up here a little bit, but it's kind of like Emily said yesterday on the desk, like, Maoan knows his role. Liang knows his role on this team. The pressure isn't going to be put down to Doggo. Pressure isn't going to be spent. Pressure isn't going to be put up to Liang. Sorry, the pressure is going to be spent on getting Doggo ahead, and he is ahead. He's in a very strong position now on this misfortune. 800 gold between these two teams. Galatasaray will be looking for some sort of play to get back into this game.
But this game also highlights the first narratives we were building throughout the day of Galatasaray. It is that top side with Crazy that gets lead. You can see it here in the CS department as well. Yes, a big minion wave is being pushed in towards the top side. He will be able to pick that up and then continue to stay further ahead of Liang. And then on the opposite end of the coin, of course, it's been Doggo the entire day. It's been Doggo the entire tournament. That has been the driving factor for Beyond. It's these two differences of style that clashes together. And I think this game, with how close the early game is, with how easy it is for anyone to join a fight from the mid lane with a Ryze, with a Twisted Fate, then this is going to be an interesting series.
Zersting has to flash away as HuSha able to push forward here. Gale Force complete for Doggo. Medium Quiver, 1,300 gold. Long Swords, Cloak of Agility, 600 gold. Pickaxe, 875. Doggo being fed. Priceless here for Beyond Gaming. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
Well, one of the earlier one today, actually, with 9:29 being finished here. At least that's what I think was the timestamp I saw on it when it popped up. And the next Drake is active here. Remember, Galatasaray, they picked up the first Cloud Drake, and it looks like they want to extend it here. TP's coming through from Maoan in the mid lane. And both top laners also have TPs should they want to join the fight. But right now for Galatasaray, there really isn't a ward in a very good placement for it. So I think Beyond Gaming, they'll be getting the mid lane priority now, and they'll be moving down towards the objective.
Yeah, I think this is a really greedy contest from Galatasaray if they decide to go for this. TP's coming in below them right now. Liang actually about to time out for Gnar, so this could be dangerous. Will he still have the Gnar bar when he goes in? Bullet time on the backline, Crazy diving in. Maoan's already killed off Zersting. Importantly as well, Doggo's still alive. Crazy turning it back in though, when Kino's down, it's a double. And I thought it was greedy, but Galatasaray had other ideas. A double kill going over to Alive alongside the Drake.
Super crucial that Bolulu finds Doggo in that fight to make him flash over the wall. And once the priority now is there for them, they can pick up the kills, they can pick up the objective, and they can pick up the waves with the CS now, which should also in turn give them some nice reset timers to get out on the map here. So Galatasaray, despite having a small deficit, able to find it, and here we see it with the TP. You can see it's a split fight already from Beyond. Doggo caught off by the gold card.
Liang
Crazy joining it, as well. And it's actually not a flash over. It's Maoan who's finding the Rail Warp to get them back into the team. But when it finally happens, it's just too late. And speaking of too late, Kino's flash.
Yeah, definitely too late there from Kino. The fact that Liang TP'd in and then went Gnar immediately just totally changed that fight. Seems like it's good timing from Galatasaray, understanding how the Gnar bar works, and because of that, Alive now 3-0-0 with the Kraken Slayer complete on this Lucian. Where's this AD carry been the rest of the tournament, the rest of the day? Alive has definitely been a point of weakness for Galatasaray here. They're sitting in a pretty strong position. Question is, with all that weight on his shoulders, can he carry Galatasaray through these other fights?
Yeah, I think he's definitely in a good position to do so. And I also think the fact that he's able to keep them stable in the early to mid game is allowing the rest of the members to catch up. Players like Crazy on the Gwen, the further we get into this game, the more annoying he's going to get. The scaling on this champion is absolutely absurd. And once again, remember how it fares into the ranged champions of Beyond are super nice. They're forcing you to walk into them. That's not what you want to do when you're against a Gwen.
You can see the gold lead that was developed in the bottom lane now extinguished. Both AD carries on an equal amount of gold. Doggo here eats a pillar, but it should be fine as the culling comes out just to clear out that wave. HuSha's down on the bottom side of the map. No rift hold for him as that was taken by Mojito and can be used to try and push the next tower. Plates have fallen though, so no extra turret plates coming out from that. Still 1,000 gold the difference between these two squads.
But I still like what Beyond is doing here. They have Maoan in the mid lane, push in the mid lane, move down towards the bottom side of the map, create pressure. There's no flash in Bolulu, so no way to extend the gap there. And because Maoan is able to push in the mid, move down towards the bottom, Alive and Zersting, they have to respect it. They're already being pushed in by Doggo. And it's how Beyond is moving around the pressure like this. These key pieces on the map, they're able to get these small gold leads in the early game that just, you know, piles up on top of each other.
In a very strong position. 2,000 gold ahead. Crazy's going to be given over the blue buff here.
Is he though?
Oh, Bolulu might take it. I mean, either one of them having it is fine. I think Bolulu will be happier for it. And Crazy seems to be comfortable just continuing to go back up towards that top lane. On the way to the Rift Maker, very strong in the hands of Gwen.
Speaking of Rift Herald also been picked up, still in the inventory off. Why are you looking? Don't
a good one, man. That was a good one. That was a good one.
All right, well, fair enough. They are going to be having the Everfrost come out from Bolulu soon. I think he's going to be recalling now for it. And once you have that, it's the extra CC layer you really get on the gold card that makes this champion so obnoxious to play against on a broader map state. Specifically, Crazy now as well should be backing and getting that Rift Maker you were speaking about as well. And it's now when you're finally matching Beyond in the item department that you can try and look for something with this Rift Helm.
We'll see where they decide to use it. Obviously, a bunch of options. Usually, if plates are down, you want to crack open the tier 1 in the mid lane. Opens up more of the map for you, gives you many more avenues into the jungle. And with Alive being there, that would make sense. But you could also just try and focus down someone from the enemy team. Right now, that man seems to be Maoan, as Mojito is running in behind him. Did run over a ward. Maoan steps forward, and Mojito will just retreat back towards the river.
Yeah, the problem with going for the mid lane is that it's always going to be pushed in by Doggo, and because of that, you won't have the agency to actually drop down the Rift Hell and then just make it work. Well, a little exchange here.
Yeah, with the exhaust, Liang should be able to dodge away from this one. Does still have the flash, continue to try and trade in. Flashes away, bullet time used in the mid lane, and Zersting is down.
Solo kill.
Doggo is a flipping monster, man. This guy. Get him a bigger backpack because he needs to put all 4 of his teammates in it from time to time. 3-0-2 now on the MF.
Yes, super nice to see from Doggo. That's finding his team in a position where they'll have to fight for the next Drake, which potentially is soul point for Galatasaray, but the fact that they're able to excel so much pressure every time Doggo is around is absolutely insane for Beyond. This guy, what he's doing for this roster.
We were just talking about how Galatasaray could use the Rift Tower to hopefully open up a tower somewhere. I mean, immediately Beyond like, oh, well, we'll just bullet time kill someone and then it's fine. Use the Gale Force as well. Everfrost used onto Mojito there just for the slow. Does have the Ragnarok. Doggo caught out a little bit, but flashes. There's the gold card into the culling. Kino can eat that with the Eclipse. Liang looking for the flank. Has that Gnar. He's exhausted right now. No Mega Gnar building up. Galatasaray continue to defend. Crazy does have TP. Riftel's going to get a charge in here, but should be able to take out the tower as Beyond are strong enough to defend. Ocean Dragon is up. And the question is now, do Beyond want to take this fight? Because Doggo is half HP, doesn't have flash, doesn't have heal. It looks like they might be giving this one up.
And they are. Doggo, when I see Doggo recalling, I know, okay, that means the rest of Beyond, they're not coming for that one. And they're not going to threaten it with the steal either from the side of HuSha. So they push in the mid lane. Obviously, tower has already been taken, and it's just going to be pushed in. Now, catch rather by Crazy. And Zersting in the mid lane with Alive. So soul point now for Galatasaray. So despite Beyond once again being the team ahead, the objective setup is where it falters.
Feels very much like game 1.
And 2.
At the moment. And 2, yeah, it's very true. Galatasaray 4.5 minutes away from a possible Ocean Soul. Beyond still in a good spot. You've got Collector Gale Force complete on your AD carry. He's level 11. Maoan is the Everfrost and I think he's changing his build path from the build he did last time he was on Ryze, where he didn't get the Seraphs early. He actually had 3 items. He had Zhonya's, Morellonomicon, and a
then
Tear.
Just sitting on a Tear, yeah.
Which was a little bit sad. I think he's going for the Seraphs early here, which does give you such a huge output of damage on the Ryze. But we'll see if he decides to complete that, or whether or not he's going for the Zhonya's, because he does have stopwatch as well in his inventory.
Then waiting before they really get pressure on the map here. Maoan stepping up, will be forced to burn flash, I think.
As well. TP coming in. Not forced to burn the flash because of the TP. Good dodge on the Undertow. Some fancy feet there from Maoan. Liang's TP'd up here. The rest of Beyond are actually on their way. Remember, Maoan has the TP to rejoin if he needs. Kino behind. Alive is not
sick here.
Bullet time could be sick here. Could just be not used. Solar Flare misses. Turning it back around. Maoan there, Doggo standing, just waiting in the wings, waiting in the darkness. Now he steps back forward when there's vision. Undertow coming out. Ragnarok available for Mojito. Does have the ghost. There's the bullet time. Zersting stops it with a great pillar though. Almost goes down.
No flash
taking
on Doggo.
Away. No flash on Doggo. Bolulu dived in, but Bolulu died because of it. Alive going in with the culling. Kino will tank that up. It's exchanged to HuSha, and Beyond will be able to walk away from this one. Get one kill, get out.
I can't believe he lived there, but the fact was that Alive just wasn't there to join the fight, so it's a 4v5 from the beginning. And because of that, Beyond, they're able to accelerate the lead once again and get one of these picks. They're so good at doing it. As long as there's not an objective involved, Beyond are really good at finding ways to get further ahead into the game.
And now 4,000 gold ahead, Goldborg there in such a strong position. You could see like both teams were eyeing something up. They were like looking across the room at each other like, we're gonna fight, we're gonna fight, we're gonna fight. And then the bullet time comes in. Zersting with a superb pillar across the wall. Looked like he'd caught them out. But in the end, Beyond just that slight bit better.
It's an interesting play as well. It was opted into from all the way back in the beginning, with Crazy just waiting to see if Maoan would step up, and then all of a sudden all the teammates were here. Mojito holding on to his Ragnarok for so long. And if you take a look onto the minimap, yes, it's a good pillar, but Alive is just not there to capitalize on it. So Bolulu dashing in here is just dashing into the enemy team, and I think he could have just walked up and hit that gold card instead of porting in.
Yeah, there's no range as well, because Alive wasn't there, right? What's Olaf gonna do? Swing at the wall with his axes and hope he chops through it in time to get to Doggo? Couldn't do it. Doggo now 3-0-3 on this misfortune. Alive now by himself, caught out a little bit, but able to force Beyond away. A minute and a half on the ocean. You have to feel that is where the fates of these teams will be decided. Galatasaray take it with an Ocean Soul in this composition. They're pretty much unkillable. Only execution is sitting on Liang.
But they also have some defensive items this time around, with stopwatch for Maoan, with the stopwatch for Doggo. The fact that you have that one extra is super nice in terms of Galatasaray only have one of them right now. So if Alive is caught off guard, or anyone else for a matter of that fact, they don't have that extra survivability to go through one of these exchanges. So Beyond Gaming, all they have to do now is just keep these lanes shoved up, get control of the objective in a good manner's time. I mean, already now you can start doing it if you feel like you need to be extra thorough about it. You can see pink wards are finally out. It's an Ocean Soul map as well, and that has not been the map that Beyond has been enjoying, because it creates extra bushes, and these extra bushes are just something that they haven't really taken into account around it, but this time around, they're doing a good job. They have the pink wards, and they're creating some space around the Fog of War.
Yeah, across games 3 and 4, I think their vision control has been a lot stronger than it was, especially in game 1, where they really struggled. Here, we see them clearing out all that vision. No wards in the river at all for Galatasaray. Complete darkness, and as you say, this is nice. Galatasaray will probably just give up this dragon. You don't have to fight it. The issue is, of course, Beyond could do something like this, where they look for you. Solar Flare coming out. Doggo waiting. Has the bullet time. There's the TP coming in. Alive trading onto Liang. There's the bullet time. Really doesn't do as much as Doggo would have liked here. Color going out. Crazy going in. Liang forced away. Maoan unable to join the fray in time. Realm Warp has been expended.
You need to be fast about this one. Liang doesn't have TP, so if you're able to start up the objective before he gets there, that's super crucial. They won't have that Mega Gnar available. Well, he will now. He's stacking it up on the walls. This could be a disaster call for Beyond.
Crazy expended his TP. Beyond unwilling to give up the ocean. Smoke screen coming out. Now it's down. Kino down to 400 HP. Crazy stepping in. Maoan with a great root there. Ragnarok not used by Mojito. Just ate the damage. And Liang back to half HP because that Mega Gnar has been proc. No vision still for Galatasaray. Do you go back to mid or do you take it? You're looking for the fight. Mojito stepping in. Mojito's just dead. And once again, it's Doggo. What can this man not do? He dives in. He gets the Gale Force. He gets the kill. And because of that, Beyond get the Dragon.
And it's perfect with the setup this time around because Galatasaray had no vision. They couldn't opt into it, but they're still looking. Pillar could catch one out.
Liang could be a key target here. It's Galatasaray looks to try and chase him down. Maoan, though, able to walk away. Overload coming out. Good Pillar. Stops the jump, but they just don't have the chase. And Beyond able to slow down any option for Galatasaray to get back into this game by taking away the Ocean Soul.
It also leaves you with the feeling that Galatasaray should have continued their pressure on the top side, should have continued with pushing in the mid and then extend that up to the top instead, since Beyond in the end had all the setup for the Drake, and it was beautiful this time around for Beyond, even with Galatasaray forcing Liang down in his HP's bar. They didn't know when the Drake was low enough for Mojito to walk in there, which is why he had to face check to know. And because he face checked, well, he got blown up by Doggo.
It doesn't have flash either, right? So it's just, it's purely a typical Olaf player, run at you and hope that I hit enough to do enough damage to take the kill. But, couldn't quite do it. Beyond continue to keep this gold lead at around the 4,000 mark. Doggo now has a BF sword building up towards a possible GA, or could just be using that BF sword to, you know, get an Infinity Edge or get a Bloodthirster, depending on how the mood sways him. And it becomes harder and harder for Galatasaray to do anything. Importantly, though, for them, I think Crazy's now in the position where he can kind of split push into Liang without too many worries. You know, item and a half on the Gwen. Maybe wants that full second item, but for the moment, I think Liang will struggle in that pure 1v1.
The Cosmic Drive is going to be the pivotal thing for Gwen here. The fact you get that extra movement speed ability, hey, is super nice to work around with and really does help a bruiser like, AP bruiser like Gwen here in this scenario. And there we have it. It is finished up. So you have the ability haste, you get up those Ionian boot, you have the extra ability haste off the Cosmic Drive now. And this is what you're looking for in these fights. But the problem for you is that you've been struggling to find these beneficial fights because Beyond finally adapted and improved and overcome their issues with the vision control around these neutral objectives.
So difficult for them to find a fight as well, just because of how much CC there is locked in. Destiny, gold card hits, and there's the stun on the realm. One connect, Crazy with great positioning. Liang now TP's in.
Flash.
There's the exhaust, no flash on Liang. The Gnar's going to only get one back. Liang can't try and jump across this wall. It's gone into the minion. There's a fight down towards the bottom side as well as Kino is forced away.
Believe it.
Crazy gets another, and Goldball can't believe it, but Galatasaray are cheering for this. Doggo able to survive, does still have the flash, but Kino will die. 3 for 1 in favor of Galatasaray. However, they do lose their jungler.
And that's the only saving grace, Medic. The fact they lost their jungler, so you didn't just throw and give Galatasaray the Baron, but Beyond getting caught off guard by Bolulu on the Twisted Fate, finding them split up, finding the workaround together. The two solo laners, Crazy.
HuSha.
Oh no, they can still look for more.
Pillar was a little bit early there. Gold card's going to come out. HuSha will be able to flash away from it. Tower falls in the mid lane. Doggo still surviving through all of this, and gold now shrinks. 2,000 gold the advantage for the PCS number 2 seed. Turkey are fighting back.
But this is something Galatasaray has been so good at doing, as you can take a look at this React replay. The fact that it's the two solo laners working around the map to use it. Normally you'd see the jungler and the solo laner work around, but here for Galatasaray, they know how reliable they are together now. This is what we didn't see, Medic, on the other side of the map, what actually happened here in the 3v3 scenario. And you know, it's quite telling actually, because this is Beyond Gamer's strong side, where you have down in the mid lane Doggo, he's fighting with you. On the other side, you have the strong side of Galatasaray, which is the solo laners, and they win out at each strong side here. It's just super interesting to see in this best of 5 series how well the difference of style correlate in our last game.
Yeah. I will say as well, it's very rare to see an Olaf pop Ragnarok and Ghost running down an AD carry and be the one to die. Usually, it's the AD carry that is on the losing end of that fight, but Doggo continues to impress.
Ah, you're approaching me.
Call an ambulance. Gold lead now shrunk, though, between these two teams, as we say. 1,200 the difference. Tower falling in the top lane. Ocean Soul available in 30 seconds for Galatasaray. Beyond Gaming obviously sitting only on 1 dragon. They will try and get this Scuttle Crab for vision so that they can then path down towards the bot side river. And I wonder how they want to set up around this, because Galatasaray do have the mover's advantage right now. as that Trundle can get into the river if he wants, but with Bolulu not there, I don't think Galatasaray wants to push in too far.
No, he will be there in just a moment, though. Bot lane has crashed down towards the bottom side of the map, funny enough, and that just gives them the agency with how you entrance this river. Obviously, though, Beyond have pushed in the mid lane, and they need to take care of this vision control now, Medic. The Drake is spawning in 1 minute, and you barely have vision around the Drake.
Ragnarok popped. Bolulu and Crazy on a flank. Oh,
they don't know.
Bolulu
They don't
and
have
Crazy
vision.
on the flank. Galatasaray looking to make it to their second round of knockouts for the second year in a row. Ocean Drake there. HuSha stunned up. There's the Cullen going out. HuSha will secure it, but Crazy's going in. Needle work onto the back line. Doggo getting away. There's the bullet time of the realm. We'll get them all out. Crazy pops the stopwatch for Lulu with a flank, with a gold card. Doggo dies for the first time in what feels like in a millennia. And Galatasaray able to win the fight, but Maoan now pushing forward. Liang on the advance as well. HuSha forced away. The undertow will slow them all. Galatasaray win the team fight.
I can't believe they find it. Bolulu's port was so crucial as well over the wall to get agent access rather to Doggo in that fight that did have the flash, but nowhere to flash to. And these fights just get crazier and crazier. Beyond, luckily, they do pick up the Drake, but the setup was there 10 seconds before Drake respawned, and it allowed Galatasaray to come in from the bottom side of the river, and it's making this game 5 so goddamn competitive.
Gold basically even between these two teams. Once again, you can see HuSha stunned up, Dragon secured, and then Crazy is the one to initially advance.
Yeah, and you know, good ultimate for Maoan in the beginning, because if you get caught in that chokehold with Crazy being able to do so much AoE damage, that's your entire team just getting aced. There we see it from Bolulu, the nice Destiny, seizing it, opening the gate there for the pick onto Doggo, and then a triple undertow just to get out alive with the rest of your members, not getting the objective, but getting the kill advantage, making this game stay competitive, win an almost identical gold lead, Medic.
Yeah, like 100, 200 gold, doesn't really matter at all. Importantly as well, Doggo hasn't got a QSS. He went Infinity Edge third item, there's no Mercurial, there's no way out of the gold card for him. There's no Mikhails, if he gets caught with a gold, he is stunned. He is locked there until that stun expires, or until, you know, the CC chain has finished. Alive 5-0, 3 and a bit items as well on this Lucian. Having the game of the series for him, right? He has definitely been struggling, but here, basically even on CS, you know, 10 CS at this point really doesn't matter too much. Kino going in, Zersting caught with the Zenith Blade. There's the bullet time going in as well, and Zersting is down. Collateral damage into the Ignite, into the bullet time is enough. Bolulu though with a gold card stopwatched by Doggo. Gets the access to QSS, Liang on the flank. Crazy is not with the team, does have the TP, but with the support down, Beyond might decide they want to push towards this Baron.
But he can't do this right now. There is only 20 seconds on Zersting, and I mean, you can try and threaten it, but there's so long range on the members here. Bolulu has Lich Bane and a rapid fire cannon on his gold card, so they'll be doing a ton of damage.
They do have double AD carry, so they're going to get through it quite quickly. But you can see HuSha's taking quite a bit of damage alive. Going forward, the Zenith Blade misses, and that could be the go signal for Galatasaray. Crazy going in, looking for the damage onto Kino. Maoan and Kino pop the stopwatches. Bolulu with a stun card, only onto Liang, and he's building up that Mega Gnar. Kino is low. The Baron continuing to help Galatasaray here, as now Crazy's looking for that flank position. A couple of recalls have been started. Crazy, do you want to take the blast? Liang goes in. Oh, Amnesia Ragnarok there from Mojito, able to keep himself alive for the moment. Crazy now stepping forward. Alive is pushing in the mid lane. Realm Warp away. You start the Baron right now, Galatasaray, if you want to go for this. They've already tried to get away. TP is going to happen for Maoan and for Liang if they want to get back. The TP from Maoan has to be perfect here. Galatasaray looking for the Baron. Mojito is low. Doggo forced up towards the top side. His lonesome is almost down. 400 HP now on the AD carry. TP behind them. Galatasaray looking for the Baron, looking for the hope, looking for the chance to fight on what life tomorrow. HuSha goes in. HuSha steals the Baron. And once again, Beyond Gaming are able to find the clutch factor in these fights.
What feels like the first time for HuSha. He finally gets that smite down over Mojito, and he keeps his team alive in this one. That Realm Warp almost solidified the fate of Beyond, throwing once again at the Baron, but this time around they flip it, they're confident, and they take it.
Oh, just look at how close this was. You can see Doggo forced away. Alive does such a good job of hitting the culling. And this is the moment you think, Well, do you turn for Maoan or do you stay on the Baron?
Yeah, and I think Zersting and Mojito, or Bolulu rather, they're doing so much to try and zone away the other members that they weren't taking into account that HuSha was going to come directly over the wall. And because of this, it all just came down to a steal, and he's still cool and calm and collected when getting it. Now that's a happy man in the coaching staff instead. And that's
so
the opposite.
On the other side, of course, Galatasaray do still have options in this game. Ocean Drake, Ocean Soul for them. It's about to spawn in 30 seconds time, but against a Baron with 4 members of Beyond carrying, actually all 5, I believe, are carrying that Baron. HuSha was able to get out alive. Doesn't have the flash. Doggo has both his summoners for this next fight. Galatasaray has shown us just how strong their team fighting can be across the last few battles on this Rift. Across the whole best of 5, they've continued to impress, but right now, Beyond in the driver's seat. Ocean Dragon up, 8, 7, 6. 5 seconds, and here we go. Really, Galatasaray don't seem to want to contest. They're going to push forward, but that Dragon is gone before they can get there. Galatasaray, too little, too late. Crazy jumps in. Skip and slash Bolulu with the flank. Mojito and Zersting going forward as well. Alive pushing in. HuSha stunned up with the gold card. Realm Walk's going to get him out. Gets Kino out as well. Pops the stopwatch, but the time turns back around on them. Alive solo. Doggo going in. Ragnarok just able to keep him alive. Zersting will be isolated off towards the top side, but Alive dies. Zersting dies. And perhaps with it, any hope for Galatasaray to make it through to tomorrow dies as well.
These defensive Realm Warps has been so good. The fact that Maoan isn't even near him, he's just creating the portal for his team to go into, and now Crazy maybe caught off guard as well.
Kino just looking for the stun. Flash, stun. Liang on there. The chase as well. Hallowed Path will get Crazy out for the moment, but that's the slow. There's the Zenith Blade. There's the shutdown. And meanwhile, both HuSha and Doggo are pushing in this mid wave, and they're just going to keep pushing in. Alive, 19 seconds away. Zersting 6. Galatasaray had a hope. They had the Baron in their hands. Doggo stunned up. Wildcard's going to eat through him as well, but that first Nexus Tower is low. Beyond. 1 Nexus Tower away from glory, 1 Nexus Tower away from the reverse sweep here against the TCL #1 seed. Beyond. From the PCS, the #2 seed will take the win. They'll take the Nexus and they will make a matchup with Hanwha Live tomorrow.
They get the reverse sweep. Crazy scenes from Beyond in terms of what they had to overcome in the end. It wasn't really Galatasaray in the end. It was themselves they had to overcome, their own mistakes, their own demons. And they're able to do it here in the last game as well. It wasn't clean, but it came down to one of these objective slips again. The fact that HuSha gets that Baron, the fact they get the next 3 Ocean Soul. When Galatasaray has the soul point, it keeps them in the game for so long, and what a great best of 5 to start out the day with. Medic, we're not even done. This was just the first one today.
What a performance by both teams. Of course, commiserations to Galatasaray. They were looking to follow in the footsteps of Supermassive and making it through to the second round. It's a tough loss. It's a hard loss because you were so close, and you were so close over and over and over again, but Beyond on the day, just ever so slightly better.